cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 It's black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 It's black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV and welcome to another round of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series. My name is Chaz Draycott and it's that wonderful Wednesday night again where I get to spend some good time with my very good mate Peter MacKay. Peter, we're here at the Red Bull Ring. It's a very, very historic circuit on the Grand Prix calendar, but for cars like this and GT racing, it's sort of a bit of a patchy history there, isn't it?
That it is, Chaz. Yes, absolutely. It's great to be here for round 2 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series. And yeah, Red Bull Ring should throw up a real interesting set of circumstances for our drivers. 2 really important long braking zones into turn 2 and turn 3 I think could throw up some surprises and possibly some chaos. We did have some chaos at Hockenheim 2 weeks ago, to say the least. And 1 or 2 drivers serving penalties, one of which, Ryan Penny, you said you'd throw the book at him. Well, he did have the book thrown at him. He'll start from pit lane today.
Yeah, no offence to Ryan, but I wasn't surprised really. But he has messaged this evening and said, Chaz, if you notice that I get a good start this week, keep it to yourself. So I'm going to have to try and stay on Ryan's good side. But either way, the drivers have just finished their practice session now, and they're about to go out for qualifying. So now is the real pinch point. And to be honest, Peter, from qualifying last time out, it was very, very close. And obviously this determines the 2 heats, which, to be fair, the drivers did a very, very strong job in each of those to survive and get through. But it's not the easiest thing to get right time and time again on a track like this, is it?
It's a tricky track, that's for sure. It's really awkward on terms of setup as well, because the opening part of the circuit, which Josh Bailey is going down at the moment, is just a drag strip, really. It's really, really fast. And in the MotoGP world, this is where the Ducatis really open up their legs. And, well, then you're just so quick all the way down through the opening kind of half of the circuit. Then, all of a sudden, someone switches the light off and you go into very sort of left-right, really twisty technical sections as well. So then you need a car that's quite different in setup as well. So it's a tricky one, and the drivers that have put quite a bit of practice in will really see the benefit of that. Also, this is a relatively new track to the iRacing service as well. So those who maybe have had to download the track recently as well, they will have a steep learning curve, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and it's really not an easy circuit to get right, because sections like this here, towards the end of the lap that Josh Bailey just runs a little bit wide on, they're all about carrying a lot of pace, especially into this penultimate corner as well, and the final corner. But then, of course, turns 1 and turns, well, effectively it's called turn 3 at the top of the hill, very start-stop sections of the course. And we're going to see a number of sends through there as this evening goes on. So the man really to watch would have been David Ward in this, but he's not out on circuit at the moment. He took a phenomenal victory in his debut in the championship last time round. I will apologise for my voice in advance as well, as I'm battling the dreaded cold that's going around at the moment. Now we go on board with Danny Jones into turn 1 then. As you can see, it's a tight apex at the start of the corner, big yellow sausage curb on the left, and honestly, after visiting the Red Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago, I can tell you that the sim and any pictures do not do justice this climb up this hill. It is unbelievably steep. You can actually see it above the buildings when you stand in the paddock. It is that steep. Very, very hard onto the brakes now, nice and smooth, get it turned in, feed the power in bit by bit, you go over the crest of the hill, and then another big slipstreaming opportunity back down to the long right-hander at the bottom of the hill. It's moments like this really, Peter, where we're going to see a lot of the slipstreaming and maybe a bit of moving around to just see how drivers jostle with one another. It could get a little bit sketchy there, couldn't it?
This is a very, very tough circuit, that's for sure. And the thing is, this new Porsche 992 Generation Cup car, it's a brand new car for this season of the Porsche Club of Great Britain, and it's such a rocket ship. It's actually faster than a full-on GT3 car in a straight line, and that causes all manner of problems when you see them in a multi-class race, for example. But that's another matter. But yes, you've got very, very high on terminal speed at the end of the straight, and no anti-lock braking system. So, and if the car it's a little bit more stable than the older generation car, but if you get a little bit too greedy on the downshifts, you can lock the rears very easily. So drivers will have to be careful about that as well. Big hello as well to Nick Wattenbach. He's got the right idea tonight, Chaz. He's got a Moretti in hand, ready to watch the action. Yes, I do like a Moretti. Yeah,
Moretti, very, very good beer indeed. I had maybe one too many of them when I was out in Misano a few weeks ago, I must admit. Here's Bernie. Mark Phillips just coming out of the final corner now, running his usual livery that we've all come to know and love.
I love he's kept it. What a great sport.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
meant to be a one-off humiliation, but he just. I love this. This is sorry, Bernie. That was not your fault, Bernie. Honestly, please don't hurt me. Yeah, I love it how he's just still there, lingering. He's like, you know, a bit like how Bernie in Formula One. Even when he sold the business and still remained on board, he was still a presence in the paddock. And our Bernie, Mark Phillips, is he's still just lingering around, just making his presence known, making sure the lunatics haven't completely taken over the asylum.
Well, someone that really needs to be put in an asylum because of his pace being absolutely insane is Jacob Toft, who is currently half a second clear, well, just less than that now, 0.3 of a second clear of Matt Dorrington, and then a second faster than 8th placed Carl Sharkey. It's unbelievable pace so far. Stuart Clark's just gone up to 14th position in car 23. Interesting sound effect coming from the curbs there. Almost sounds like a tubular effect. Luke Holroyd's just put a lap in to go 24th, now 25th fastest. Rob Sharp moves up into 16th position as well in his beautiful, beautiful number 86 car. Got to love that thing. Got a number of drivers that are just completing laps now. Andy Marston of Sim Racing Magazine crosses the line as well. And it's a very, very busy few minutes in qualifying.
While we do have a moment, Chaz, we should mention actually the wonderful prize that's been popped up for the drivers by the lovely folks at Crockery Direct, the Meyer family. Heinz Meyer has put up a whole world of prizes actually as well. I'll try and get them all right here. They're sponsoring the safest Pro and Am driver of each round, not the fastest, the safest, and that comes down to incident points. So the lower number of incident points assigned by the iRacing system, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the safest Pro and Am driver, each winner will receive a medal, a certificate, and best of all, a bottle of Prosecco. Oh, and a discount voucher for Crockery Direct. The season's Am and Pro drivers, the safest Am and Pro drivers for the season, will receive a trophy certificate, a bottle of champagne, and £200 towards sim racing kit at Midas Simulations.
It's absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? And you know,
That's
these guys,
a mega prize.
It really
I
is.
would just diddle about at the back if I give me the drink.
You'd do anything for a drink, wouldn't you? But a lot of these sorry, go on.
Sorry to chat. So this weekend is the Formula Ford Festival, of course, and Tommy Byrne. Sorry, just when I thought about drink there, I got very excited. Tommy Byrne, of course, what a talent Tommy Byrne was, but he was wild. Anyway, he won the Formula Ford Festival back in the 80s and won 100 bottles of his champagne. And his team owner decided that he had claim to 50 of them, and he actually wanted all of them. And Tommy says, "No, it's my champagne. I won it." But anyway, they eventually agreed just on 50 each, and Tommy sprayed 25 of them all over the garage and drank the rest.
That's a hell of a way to use your champagne, isn't it? You can imagine if his team manager wanted 50 of them, to watch a quarter of the entire winnings go literally up the wall, I imagine was probably quite frustrating, but I love stuff like that. Absolutely love it. We've got a number of our regulars still out on track. Mark Bowe, one of them. Mark's been in the series since the get-go. Same with Amrik Sashdev as well. He's in the number 9 car, just coming towards the latter stage of the lap right now. We've got Mark Elvin out there as well in the very dirty Mankini branded machine. Greg Butterworth as well, up in the clouds at turn 3. And then we have, of course, Carl Hazelton from Porsche Centre Chester on the grid again this evening. Good to see Carl back out there running the livery, of course, that he runs in his real-world racing within Porsche Club GB. And this is the quiet moment now, where we've only got maybe 2 or even, 5 cars actually on the road right now, but some of them just doing practice starts, maybe just using it as a little bit more practice at the end of this qualifying session, just to get some more time in on the road. But it's very important to get, really, because, real life comes first before sim racing, so a number of these drivers, they don't always get the time to do hundreds and hundreds of laps each week, do they, Peter? It actually comes down to the official session, and that's when they get their practice in.
Yeah, and most of the drivers, from what I understand, have a girlfriend or a wife, so they, like you say, they do actually have other stuff in their life.
Yeah, that's it. Now
we should say Jacob Tofts. We owe him a congratulations. We get bored giving him congratulations because he does win quite a lot. Him and Jacob and Chris Walsh won the Creventic Endurance Championship at the weekend at Sebring. After being taken out of 4 out of 5 races, they never gave up, and they managed to accumulate enough points to win the championship as well. So well done to Jacob Tofts and to Chris Walsh.
Yeah, the first ever Creventic Endurance Series champions in their class as well. So very, very well done indeed. It's always, that really lays down the gauntlet when you win a championship in its first running as well. So fantastic achievement by those guys, and we'll see how that translates to this evening. So 2 heats, top 10 go through to the final. Then we have a consolation for those that didn't make it through their respective heats. First one on the night sees Jacob Tofts and Matt Dorrington head-to-head on the front row. Then it's Christian Saruta and Austin Greatorex. Johnny Elia and Tom Slater make up row 3. João Estevez and Stuart Clark are on row 4 ahead of Byron Crawford and Mark Bowe. Then it's Mark Phillips alongside Andrew Shepherd on row 6 ahead of Josh Bailey and Ralph Meyer. Heinz Meyer just behind with Spencer Ayres in 16th. Jared Coleman is 17th ahead of Paul Stout. Then it is Mark Elvin alongside Gregory Butterworth rounding out the 20. Andrew Marston, Gavin Halls, Ross Dunstan and Sam Sellers round out your grid. And I apologise, Ross, I will get your name fixed because I knew there was a name in the list that I was supposed to fix, and after going through, I missed it. So, sorry, Ross. But it is fixed now, I can promise you. Anyway, first heat of the night, Peter. Instantly into the action with Jacob Tofts on pole. Do you think he can hold on to this, or do you think Dorrington's going to use the slipstream to stick with him?
Oh, I think Dorrington's got a win in him tonight.
Yeah? We'll have to...
I think so.
Johnny Ely has been impressive as well. He starts 5th on the grid here. He was at Brands Hatch on the weekend. I was, unfortunately, flying around too much to actually catch up with him and see him and Colin win. But hopefully, another time, we will be able to meet Stuart Clark also a little bit further back. He was impressive at Hockenheim as well. João Estevez just in front of him in the very, very colourful machine. Andrew Shepherd, Mark Phillips. It's a very star-studded grid. I mean, if you look at grids that we've had in previous seasons and then look at just the drivers in this now, you'd think this was probably the whole field because so many superstars from the opening couple of seasons are all packed together in this grid, and this is only half of our entries for this first heat. The clock will get to about 2 minutes on the left-hand side there because Gavin Halls, Ross Dunstan and Sam Sellers will be starting from the pit lane, I believe. The lights should appear on your screen just now, and they do. And the very first heat of the night in round 2 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series from the Red Bull Ring is underway. Looks like a fantastic launch from Greatorex. There's a little bit of contact further back. Looks to me like Jared Coleman was off on the left-hand side of the grid, but look at Dorrington now having to stay down the inside of Zaruta. It was initially a good getaway from Austin Greatorex, but now Zaruta's got the cutback here on Dorrington as they come towards us and over the crest of the hill. Looks like Zaruta's going to get through into second, but annoyingly for them, it's Jacob Tofts that is starting to disappear already. We look a little bit further back. Mark Bowe trying to get past Byron Crawford, and there's almost 3 wide behind them. Looks like Josh Bailey. Oh, João Estevez is around. João Estevez having a bit of a moment. Doesn't quite blend in with the grass, but a nice tidy couple of first corners there, Peter. You can tell the slap on the wrists worked.
Yes, indeed. Of course, the drivers have to adhere to the orange zone rule, which effectively means if you cause an incident on lap 1, you have to take yourself for a drive-through penalty. And here at the Red Bull Ring, it's quite a long pit lane, so you do not want to do that. And especially in this shorter heat racing format, it's even more punishing as well. So you have to keep an eye out for that one. So that's why you see the drivers taking it pretty easy. But that's a good thing because with this new generation car, seems like the tyres just take a little bit longer to come up to temperature and pressure. And without that temperature and pressure, the car feels very, very nervous and slidey. It does give you a bit more information than the old car, but a little bit more communicative, but you just need that lap to kind of get it up to full temperature. Then you can really push on.
This is Paul Stout, who's gained 4 places so far on that opening lap. He's our biggest mover in the field. The car in front of him, Spencer Ayres, has gained 3. Then Ralph Mayer has gained 2 places. Andrew Shepherd is just 1 spot outside of the top 10 at the moment in his very, very bright and colourful car. That's Ralph Mayer going very wide. Oh, Bernie's dropped it. Bernie's dropped it. The 42 machine as well. Josh Bailey has also dropped it. I was just about to say Mark Phillips is the last one inside the top 10, but he's done it himself, Peter. Let's have a look.
Oh, Bernie. We're going to get a view from Andrew Shepherd. Oh, just got over the sausage. Bernie mounted the sausage. And into the wall he went.
Indeed. It's not quite the time of night for that, but either way, he's unfortunately put it in the wall, and he's now down in 23rd position. So this is the fight for the last couple of spots in the top 10. Andrew Shepherd is in 10th, so he's the one on the brink, but these guys in front, they don't want to fight too hard, because if you do scrap and have a little bit of contact or slow yourself up too much, then you're going to eventually lose those places overall. Jared Coleman's off the road. Someone else is as well. Gregory Butterworth way off the track. Not quite sure what's happened there. Mark Elvin has also had an issue.
Down some water, please, beloved.
Let's have a quick look here. Elvin down the inside of Jared Coleman. Contact there. Everybody checking up to be nice and polite. And then at the bottom of the hill, oh wow, Greg Butterworth lost it on his own. Jared Coleman had a big lock-up as well, but not sure if that was some sort of netcode contact there. Gianni Elia has gone into the pits, very interestingly. Not quite sure what's happened to him, but this is your race leader, Jacob Tofts. Now, he's not that far clear of Christian Zeruta. So I think with the slipstream here, it's only half a second between the two of them. This is going to keep them stuck together here, Peter.
Well, they say a happy driver is a fast driver, and Christian Zeruta, I think, is the most improved driver. We saw him win some races in the Pro Class last year, but often in the reverse grids. To this season, well, he is just right up there. I would say he's the most improved driver, but no wonder, Chaz. A happy driver is a fast driver. This guy, he drives a Porsche 911 GT3 RS in ultraviolet. How can you be sad? And no wonder he's driving quick, because he's just like, well, I'll just do my best, but you know, whatever happens, I've got the coolest car in the street, or in the county for that matter.
Well, yeah, it's just
Thanks,
unbelievable.
my love.
Absolutely unbelievable. Thank you. You're welcome, Peter. Zeruta then.
That was my push to talk button. No, it's kept fully off there. Oh,
it was not. Byron Crawford is fully off. And flipping out. Well, oh no!
Oh, dear.
Jared Coleman was blind going into there by the look of it. Let's have a look what happened to Byron. It looks like he's already gone off circuit before this. Oh, he's down the inside of Mark Bowe trying to make the move. Lights it up. Let's see if we can get a higher view of this just to see roughly where he ended up. Oh, he's on the inside.
Everyone's in his blind spot.
Yeah. Now, is that him free? Yes, it is, or is it? Oh, Bernie.
Oh, it's Bernie. Don't do that.
Oh, and then Jared Coleman just collects him. Now, we do need to go back to the front, sorry, because Jacob Tofts is certainly under pressure from Christian Zeruta now. And behind them, Matt Dorrington isn't far off either, to be honest with you. I'll have to see how long he can hold them off. Because I think, really, at this point, these guys are thinking, do we even bother attacking? You know, do we actually just stick behind him and just get through into the heat? Oh, sorry, into the final. Or do we push and just get ourselves a better grid position so we don't need to do the work later? Because at the end of the day, their finishing position in their heat sets where they start relative to each other on the grid in the final. So if you do finish ahead of your rivals in your heat, you'll start ahead of them on the grid in the final. Makes sense? I hope so. Either way, we've got a very close battle going on further back between João Estevez and Spencer Ayres. Now, these are the last two positions in the top 10. That right there, in front of João, is not just another Porsche 911, but that is a ticket to the final.
Yeah, this is the bubble battle, I think, which is going to be so interesting over the course of the race. I do apologise if I've deafened you viewers. I thought my push to talk was on. It was actually on detect everything, so it's a good job I haven't passed wind while behind the mic. Normally the push to talk is good for hiding that.
Well, if you have, we haven't heard it.
Apologies, yes, apologies for that, folks. That must have been loud.
It wasn't that bad, actually.
Okay, that's good.
It was, it was all
very
right.
Sorry.
Behind the
back.
scenes. It's like a direct...
Oh, that's
Sorry,
a much more menacing Spencer Ayres tooth livery at the front.
Yeah, indeed. Chomping at the bit to try and get forward. We haven't seen the Schweppes car yet, speaking of car-based puns. I was still laughing about that one yesterday, to be fair.
So good.
Either way, Spencer not really having to focus on the teeth on the front of the car now, but just to focus on the car right behind him. João Esteves obviously having that spin on the opening lap. He's on a recovery drive, really, at this stage. I think the livery looks fantastic. It's almost like that white honeycomb pattern is sort of layered over the top of any decals and other bits he's put underneath, but he's gone down the inside. I don't know how he turned that into a move, to be honest with you, but it was a fantastic send down the inside, and João Esteves gets himself into a position that would see him through to the final. We've just hit the halfway point right now. And, oh yeah, don't forget, it is reverse grid for the heat race position into the final. My mistake. I do apologise. So really, if Tsuruta and Dorrington want to sit behind Tofts right now, there's nothing wrong with that, because they'll start ahead of him in the final. Also, Austin Greatorex actually lingering in the background there as well. He's not too far away. I'm not sure if this livery is actually... I'm pretty sure that livery is based on one of the real ones, isn't it? In Porsche Club, because it's the Porsche Carrera Cup of Great Britain livery by the look of it, because I can't remember the name of the team now that runs it, but it looks like one of the liveries that I don't know why I made this link, but Josh Price used to run it in the British Touring Car Championship on the Subaru Levorg. Anyway, Spencer Ayres, he's not worried about Subaru Levorgs and daft touring car history right now. He's worried about getting past João Esteves. It's good to see him coming back at him here, isn't it? Good to see him coming back at him here, isn't it, Peter?
Subaru Levorg, really cool touring car, absolutely dull as dishwater road car. I mean, good.
Yeah.
But that's one for you folks. Let us know in the comment what you think is the most uninspiring road car to make a cool touring car.
Volvo S40.
Yeah, that's a good one. That would be a good one. I mean, it is the coolest touring car ever. I mean, you can't say Infiniti Q50 because, you know, like, the car doesn't actually really exist anymore. Or you can, the Q-Reg Special. I mean, I think you can buy them in kit form from Westfield, I think.
That's what kept Caterham going after their real bad recession.
They made Infinitis. I saw one. I did see an Infiniti Q50 the other day, and I said to Lucy, that's Lucy, as in my love, at the top of my voice. A couple of minutes ago, I said to Lucy, I was like, well, you'd have more chance of seeing a Ferrari than one of those.
Oh, Mark Baxter, Chevy Cruze. I'm going to recline my chair. But
Nissan Primera, that's a good one.
Oh, no, Nissan Primera, what a fantastic... They did the Nissan Primera GT, I think, which was really a really cool road car, actually. I think that was a mega road car. Mark Bowe has just got past Stuart Clark, by the way, and I have been corrected. Thank you, Steve Haley. It's Lorcan Hannafin's base livery that Austin Greatorex is running, but instead of it being the white and red, it's the white and gold. Thank you very much. Yes, JTR, that's it. That is the one. For some reason, I thought RML, but funnily enough, to come full circle, they're the ones that used to run the Nissan Primera in the British Touring Car Championship. Anyway, Tsuruta now, rather than being under pressure, he is now under pressure from Matthew Dorrington rather than putting Jacob Tofts under pressure. So maybe he's just stepped off the gas a little bit here, Peter. I'm not sure if there was a certain mistake, but he's just a couple of tenths here or there slower each lap than Tofts at the minute. So looks like Jacob's on for a nice, safe heat win.
Yeah, Jacob looking very smooth indeed, and that's the thing, that Jacob's able to just click off these absolutely, I was going to say monotonous, that's not the right word, metronomic is the word, where it's just clicking off. Look at that, 1 minute 30.0, it's 8 tenths quicker than Tsuruta, half a second quicker than Dorrington. I mean,
without slipstream.
Really, also, that's a very excellent point, yes. That is quite incredible. Dorrington's going to try and go around the outside of Tsuruta here, and this is good news for Greatorex. So here he comes, he's going to have a look at him there. So Dorrington all over the back of the flying bogey. Christian Tsuruta's. Isn't that interesting? Christian Tsuruta's road car has got the coolest colour ever, but then paints his race car in full-on bogey spec.
Yeah, it's like the leftover paint from the Braun GP cars. Either way, very close.
It's gone off.
Yeah, Austin Greatorex very, very close then to the back of Matt Dorrington. I'm going to use the nose camera more often than the roll bar camera, everybody. I did promise you that I'd fix this, as you can't really see on the right-hand side, but we'll sort that for the next one. I've been very, very busy and unfortunately not had much time to be able to fix some of these little details, but we've got a fantastic battle going on now with just over 3 minutes of this race left to go, the first race of the night. Dorrington starting to see a few chinks in the armour here from Tsuruta. I'm wondering whether Christian has used his tyres up early on trying to chase after Mr. Tofts, and now they're starting to go off a little bit more than Dorrington and Greatorex's tyres are. We must give a mention to Tom Slater, by the way. He's all on his lonesome in 5th position. Mark Bowe is in 6th place. But we need to stick with this because Greatorex now down the inside of Dorrington. I was expecting Dorrington to have a go at Tsuruta first, but it's actually Greatorex that's made the move. These pairs sticking together now up towards 3. That's very, very close to contact. They don't really need to scrap, to be fair. All this is going to change now is a position on the grid in the final. I say all it's going to change. It's quite important to these guys. Like I said before, it means that you don't have to do the work in the final. And Greatorex not quite able to stay in front. Dorrington now gets it done again. Down the inside. Austin looks, sticks to the curb, gives plenty of room. Doesn't do a Hamilton on an Albon. But now Dorrington's going to have the inside again here, Peter. This is fantastic flow from these pair. Nice clean racing so far.
And this is usually why you get absolutely superb races at the Red Bull Ring, both on 2 and 4 wheels, because you've got those 2 great overtaking opportunities, and then you go into this kind of switchback section where you can run too wide. As a bit of a warning there for Greatorex. You saw the rear of the car just wiggle slightly, saying, "Are you sure, Austin? Now behave yourself, young man." It's you don't want to do what your dad did to your car. Did you see the picture of that? Austin has a Polo GTI track car which his dad rolled at Donington Park.
No.
Imagine your dad rolling your car.
Oh, I'd kick off.
I admire his patience. I would go bananas.
Yeah. We need to look back at this, by the way, because Gavin Halls, the absolute superstar, has come through from the back of the grid from 22nd, gained 12 places and now got inside the top 10. He's got Ralph Mayer just behind him on the brink of being in the top 10. But this is going to come down to whether Gavin gets ahead of João Esteves and whether either of them hold each other up and Ralph can sneak through. Maybe even Spencer Ayres as well. Although I believe the car right behind them on track is not for position. Anyway, halfway round the lap further up, Dorrington and Greatorex still going at it, Peter. I couldn't call who's going to finish ahead out of these pair.
Well, I tell you who's the biggest benefactor, regardless of the outcome of this duel between Greatorex and Dorrington. Tsuruta. Christian Tsuruta's looking in his mirror saying, "This is the best day since I bought that purple GT3 RS," and that was a pretty good day. Dorrington just hangs on. Dorrington's such a clean racer, but so clever too. Very fast. I mean, he's got the full set of attributes, but it's just keeping Austin at bay. As Mark Bowe's gone for a little bit of an off-track excursion, which is a pity because he was having a really strong run up to that point. But our runaway leader, once again, Jacob Toss, business as usual.
Yes, it is indeed, taking the first race win of the night, crossing the line and winning the first heat. Jacob Toft's amazing performance as ever. Christian Tsuruta, like Peter said there, real benefactor of the fantastic fight behind with Dorrington and Greatorex. They finished 3rd and 4th in that order. Tom Slater gets a nice tidy 5th position, very consistent lap times from Tom. Stuart Clark is going to take 6th place after starting 8th on the grid. Good result for him. Andrew Shepherd makes it into the top 10 after starting 12th, but is he going to beat Mark Bowe to the line? The two of them glued together as they get there. I think Bowe might just have him. Does he? No. Shepherd just beats him across the line. Gavin Halls finishes 9th and João Esteves just holds on ahead of Ralph Mayer. Ralph will start near the front of the grid, or at the very front of the grid, for the Consolation race not too long from now. Byron Crawford and Mark Phillips making their way to the line. They both had a bit of shenanigans go on over the course of their race, but a nice tidy first heat, I'd say, from that one, Peter. There was a few little incidents here and there, but nothing major to write home about, to be honest. That was good stuff to watch.
Well, now this is something we're not used to saying. Gavin Halls is usually just, well, we're very used to saying this. Gavin Halls is normally all action. There's always stuff going on around Gav. It's always spectacular, you can guarantee that. But that race was completely unspectacular for Gav, but he's done a super job. Starting from pit lane, has got all the way through the pack and finished 9th. So he's got into that top 10. He's qualified for the final from a pit lane start. That is a huge drive, and he's done so clinically. We've not seen him on camera because he's done it absolutely 100% clean. And he'll start from, I think he'll start from the second row of the final. Watch out for Gavin Halls in the final. What started off as a doom and gloom of starting from pit lane, he's now right in the hunt.
Yeah, you have to really play the format, don't you, and use it to your advantage, and that's exactly what he's done there. Mark Baxter-Jones and Paul Rieger make up the front row of the second heat, followed by Simon Povey, Carl Sharkey, Stephen Harpham, and Rob Sharp. Then it's Mark Johnson, Chris Byram, Stephen Kershaw, and Danny Jones, who rounds out the top 10. Then it's Paul Goffin alongside Oliver Carbadine on row 6, Amrit Sashdev and Luke Holroyd. Colin Wynne lines up alongside Michael Rowe. Then it's Fausto Pinto and David Patching on the 9th row of the grid. Ryan Penny is next up, with Carl Hazelton rounding out your 20. Then it's David Ward, Stephen Haley, and Ethan Gardner in 23rd. Now, Simon Povey, we know, is very, very quick indeed. Great stuff from Paul Rieger and Mark Baxter-Jones to outqualify him here. It's not easy to be quicker than Simon Povey. Carl Sharkey, 4th on the grid. He's definitely one to watch as well. There's a number, again here, to be fair, Peter, a number of drivers that could all take the win in this one. But the second heat of the night, just about to get underway. Then the lights will come on at Red Bull Ring. And let's see who else is going into the final. Kershaw did not take to the grid, and he will start from the pit lane. But it's a great launch for Paul Rieger. Rieger has nailed it from the right-hand side of the grid. Got down the inside into turn 1 on Mark Baxter-Jones. And through he goes with a little bit of argy-bargy at the back. That was Ryan Penny. Let's not draw attention to Ryan. Top 3 getting away, though, already. Carl Sharkey, well, he's going to have the tow hook out already here, Peter. But Rob Sharp has got a massive gaggle behind, including the slow-starting Simon Povey.
Yeah, not what we're used to seeing for Simon Povey. Now, Simon very generously shared a picture with in the kind of digital paddock, which is always entertaining viewing and listening. And the ladies at the local coffee shop, which Simon goes to, basically when he came into the coffee shop on Thursday morning 2 weeks ago, after the first round of the championship, they wrote, instead of normally in a coffee shop they write your name on it, you know, Peter or Chaz, or oh dear, there's a spin for the Sashdev. Oh no, not Chaz. Looks like it's Goffin. And it said first loser.
Oh wow!
Ouch. So I didn't get. Simon didn't share the names, but I think just maybe give him a bit more encouragement, ladies. You know, he's trying his best.
Oh,
and he's one of our fastest drivers as well.
That is savage. Absolutely savage.
Absolutely savage, indeed. Yeah.
Mark Baxter-Jones has retaken the lead from Paul Rieger. Carl Sharkey remains in 3rd place. Rob Sharp has gone up from 6th to 4th. But he has got Povey and Harpham right behind him now. Then it's Johnson, Byram, Danny Jones and Oliver Carbadine rounding out the top 10. Ollie has actually got 2 seconds to Luke Holroyd, who's in 11th. So there's a little bit of a buffer there already. No such buffer, though, if we go on board with Rob Sharp. There is Simon Povey tucking into the slipstream. It's not subtle, that car, but you can see, actually, the slipstream effect up there. It's not as big as we'd expect, unless Simon Povey is hanging back a little bit.
Yeah, maybe just getting themselves settled in, getting that tyre temperature up. I do think it's very important to make sure the tyres are right up to their working temperature, because the car can feel quite difficult until that gets through. I think this is a much, much better car than the previous generation. Porsche have made an improvement in every area. It's more stable, it's quicker in a straight line, it stops better, it corners faster, everything. And I think one of the best things is it's not quite as knife edge. You do get a bit of a warning before it goes wrong, so you can at least make an attempt to save it. So it's a different. It does, but for that reason, the only thing I would maybe say is it maybe just feels a touch lazier than the old one, which is not. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it depends how you like your race car to be.
Yeah, that's it. Some people actually enjoy a race car that it feels like it tries to kill you at every corner because it keeps them on their toes. But at the same time, other drivers prefer them to be easier to drive and, like you say, a little bit lazier and not so lively. just so you can concentrate on where you're putting the car rather than what it's doing so much. There goes Simon Povey down the inside of Rob Sharp. Nicely done into turn 1. Stephen Harpham and Mark Johnson queuing up behind to try and make moves. Michael Rowe was stuck between the 2 Porsche Centre Chester branded machines, which is Ryan Penny and Carl Hazelton. Carl early on the brakes there to avoid an issue into turn 1. I think he was worrying about Michael coming through, and in the background that is Goffin. Paul Goffin adding his second off of the night.
He'll be a bit shaken after that.
He will indeed. Oh, he just slowed it down on the inside of turn 1, just got some wheels on the grass, and whew, wow. Very, very close there. That was Amrik Sashdev, wasn't it, going past him incredibly, incredibly closely. This is Colin Wynn, car 4. Fausto Pinto just behind these guys, just outside of the top 10 at the moment, not able to break in, and the gaps in front are actually quite large as well. Luke Holroyd is 11th. He is the nearest threat to Oliver Carwadine, who is currently in 10th place in that beautifully iconic livery. That looks great on that car, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Matmut Inza Performance team, which I believe are making a return to top-level GT racing next season, which has been a long time coming. They were a real powerhouse. They really were often representing the kind of factory-level Porsches in at Le Mans, in GT2, etc. And great to see the French team coming back. Of course, France always been a key market for Porsche, always with Roulet and Son Auto, who have played a huge part. They're also built Yamaha, the same company that grew Porsche from nothing to what it is today in the French market, did the same with Yamaha.
Interesting stuff. It certainly looks good on the car, I can tell you that much for free. I don't quite have the knowledge bank of Peter MacKay, but it's why we love you. Mark Baxter-Jones is actually being caught by Paul Rieger here. Rieger's just on the fastest lap of the race last time round, a 1:30.5. Only half a second off the sort of times that Jacob Tofts was doing earlier, so it shows that that pace difference is very minimal between these drivers. Every season we get a massive improvement from certain drivers in the field, and now we've got this different car introduced for this season. It's opened our eyes a little bit, hasn't it? Some drivers really suiting it early on in this season, but I'm even more excited about how some of them are going to develop to the latter stages of the championship.
Yeah, I think so. I think that this car has a huge amount of potential in terms of what the driver can get out of it. I think this car has got more working window, if that makes sense. Like basically the previous generation, you got on with it to a point, and unless you were really special, you couldn't get the best out of it, basically. Whereas this car, I think you can have a lot more hero drives. I think in this 992, you'll get more drivers who you maybe didn't expect to really come out of the woodwork. As Chris Byram having a wee look up the inside here of Mark Johnson with Danny Jones in the Haribo Bear, and whoop, there we go. Now we're getting some great answers to the uninspiring road car, but amazing touring car. Adam Raitt says Kia Sedona. That's a good one. You can't beat a 7-year warranty though.
That's true.
Audi 90 IMSA. That's a great choice. I know it's not strictly a touring car, but I get we'll take that. Yeah,
I agree.
As well, that's right up there, because Audi 90 road car is pretty uninspiring, but the IMSA car, the GTO car.
Oh, good lord.
Yes.
No, I totally agree on that one. Totally.
It understeers sitting still.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's it. They complain about understeer when they're getting it off the trailer. But Chris Byram...
406 would be one. Tim Harvey's 406 with the SO Ultron. I mean, what a dull as dishwater road car. But
him and Paul Radicic. Oh, yes. What a good-looking bit of kit. You know what? I'm even going to go as far as saying the Peugeot 405 that O'Brien used to drive. Him and his teammate had alternating fluorescent yellow and neon orange headlight covers on their Peugeot 405s. They were incredible looking machines in the old school Peugeot Motorsport livery with the white with the multicoloured angles down the side of it. Phew, that highlights super touring to me, that livery car combo. But there's plenty of them.
Renault Laguna would be one as well, another one as well. I mean, especially the latter ones, the
green
Nescafe. God, wait! I love how we both follow each other straight down this black hole.
Oh yeah,
of nonsense. We'll be up the inside.
There's a black hole. Oh, Simon really throwing it down the inside. Carl won't take that line down, though. And well, actually, look at that. He carried the pace around the outside of the corner on the exit. Fantastic stuff for Carl to stay in front, but now Simon's back in the slipstream. These two needing to provide us with some much-earned entertainment, I'd say, because they're not two drivers that we had too many battles out of last time round. I've been really excited about seeing drivers like these guys go head-to-head with each other once again in the new season, and it's great to see that this car has certainly leveled the playing field. And Darren Bearer, right, saying Lady Penelope's lover's on the move.
Very good. So we shall explain that for you viewers. Lady Penelope is the car that Simon is driving, hence the pink colour. As Simon goes for a big lunge up the inside, and Carl Sharkey, the hardest driver to pass in the PCGB paddock, and he proves it yet again. What a piece of defence from Carl. Doesn't even lose any time.
No, he gained it.
I just do not know how he does that. Carl must, I mean, the names that people must call him when they're trying to get past him. Obviously, Carl's a lovely chap, really lovely chap. Nobody has a bad word to say about Carl, but I bet you they do when they're trying to get past him, because he's just so good. Now, we need to do Carl a bit of a favour here with our immense influence, Chaz. Haha. Carl has got his name down for a Cayman GT4 RS.
Ooh.
And he's apparently high up the list, but not confirmed yet. So, since we're such influencers, Chaz, if you're listening, Porsche Centre Hull, can you make sure that Carl gets his allocation of GT4 RS?
Yeah, please.
So he actually has to put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that and we could blag a visit to go see it in person.
Like, give us a shot, Carl.
Yeah.
We're the only reason you got an allocation in the first place.
He's like, look, I'm famous. I race on Simracersworld TV. There you go. No, I love it. I really hope that he gets one, because that looks like an incredibly impressive car. I mean, a Cayman GT4 anyway is a hell of a machine. Gorgeous looking car, fantastic sound, and all you ever see is great things said about them with the way that they're set up. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a fast Porsche. It's going to be amazing, but the RS, a step up on what is already an incredible, incredible car. Sharky, though, doing a great job at holding on to this position at the moment. As we look further down, Oliver Carwadine then 10th at the moment on the brink, with Luke Holroyd just 0.8 of a second behind him. There he is. Mark Johnson and Danny Jones are the pairing ahead. Actually, it's a trio more than anything. Chris Byram's 7th. Rob Sharp, he's sort of in a bit of no man's land now in 6th place. He's got at least a second either side of him. And he's got Stephen Harpham in 5th position. But the battle for the lead is on actually now, Peter, because Mark Baxter-Jones has got Paul Rieger climbing around all over him once again. Rieger was great off the start, lost the lead in the opening lap, but now he wants it back and he wants to take a heat win.
And you can be absolutely sure that Paul Rieger will have a go. Very, very good on the brakes. That's why we call him Paul Anchors Rieger. Got that name at Oulton Park. How you thread one there into the Hislop, you have no idea how he did it. But anyway, he pulled it off. But as we know, the Spitzker hairpin at Hockenheim is now known as Rieger's hairpin, because he wiped out the entire field trying to pull a move off. So I'm sure Mark Baxter-Jones be thinking, please don't name another corner after yourself, Paul, please. But actually, look at that. Mark Baxter-Jones almost immediately responding as soon as Rieger was threatening. It's almost as if he's hit the afterburners. That's special stuff.
Yeah, he really gained a lot of time in that final sector. It'd be interesting to see what the laps are, because I think Rieger gained a lot in the first half of the lap and then lost a bucket load of it by the time they'd crossed the line again. So let's have a look. Baxter-Jones doing a 1:31.1. Rieger doing a 1:31.4. So actually he was 0.3 quicker. So Rieger must have been right with him at the start of that lap, because the gap is exactly half a second now. And, well, he's lost 0.3. So he must have been right underneath his wing. And Baxter-Jones, like you say there, Peter, has certainly responded and done it well. We look in the background, though, because Povey's still having a go at Sharky. Carl's just putting the car exactly where he needs it. He's not all the way over to the inside, but he's on the inside enough, although Simon Povey carries a lot of speed around the outside. Is he going to be able to get the overlap completely gone?
What
he is.
What a move.
Awesome stuff.
What a move. That was really impressive. But is Carl going to have a nip back again into turn 4? I think he might well do. He's right alongside. Povey's going to have to give best here. He's got no choice. But he's going to brave it on the curb. That's bold with the amount of people that spin, asking for too much power on that curb. But Povey is just going to try and get it back, and then Sharky's going to go for the cutback here as well. Super racing as well. Simon is just determined to have something different written on his coffee cup tomorrow morning. I think you need to write on the coffee cup, the only man to pass Carl Sharkey fair and square.
Yeah, indeed. It looked like the car had more punch out of that corner than a Shark e-bike there, by the look of it.
Oh,
sudden punch, but fantastically done to carry that speed around the outside. But you can bet now.
Get me up the hill.
Yeah, you can guarantee the car won't take that one lying down. He'll want that back. So now we're on to the final lap of the race. And this is Mark Baxter-Jones still leading the way. It's only 0.4 of a second back to Paul Rieger. And Simon Povey's going to have to watch his mirrors now. Are we going to see a repeat of this, or is Carl going to wait until a little bit further around the lap? Because really you saw there that Carl couldn't do anything about it too late on. He does go to the inside, but no, it's not enough. Simon Povey just focuses on his own line. It's a nice punch out of the corner. And Carl's going to have to try and slipstream him again. Inside the top 10 a bit further back, Mark Johnson is trying to fight with Chris Byram, but nothing doing there. Looks like the top 10, as they are at the moment, are currently safe. Baxter-Jones still leading the way. Sharkey still behind Povey. These two have been great, though, at the front, though, Peter. Despite the speed of the guys behind them, they've just been making more and more ground and disappearing up the road.
Yeah, really, really super stuff from both Baxter-Jones and Rieger. They've been so immaculate. They've not made any mistakes whatsoever. And Mark Baxter-Jones, this is a proper classy drive, because just when it's almost as if he just kept a little bit in hand, he just, as soon as Rieger put him under really tough pressure, he just clicked the afterburners and surged off into the distance. It's going to be an exciting run in the final.
It will indeed. Out of the final corner then, and taking the heat win, Mark Baxter-Jones from Paul Rieger. Simon Povey is going to finish third ahead of Carl Sharkey. Stephen Harpham is going to be next up, crossing the line in 5th place with Rob Sharp 6th. Chris Byram 7th, just ahead of Mark Johnson. Danny Jones is going to be 9th, and is Oliver Carwadine going to beat Luke Holroyd to the line? They have a bit of a scuffle through the final couple of corners. Carwadine goes through. Luke Holroyd having to work for it in the Consolation. That was mighty close at the end there, though, Peter. And that can be the difference between getting through to the final and then potentially ending your night, because he could have an issue in the Consolation and not get the result he wants.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that you can then go no better than 21st on the grid for the feature as well, for the final, which is, as we saw last round 2 weeks ago, if you're anywhere in the mid-pack for the start of a feature, you are in a really, really dangerous position. We saw a huge number of drivers taken out in that early stage. So really, you want to be trying to get as far forward on that grid as you can. But in a field as competitive as this, easier said than done.
It is indeed. Certainly easier said than done. I think that's why Gavin Halls was so impressive in that first heat earlier. The way he made his way through the field was absolutely spot on. Now then, another race. Straight into it, we have our Consolation race. So this is for the drivers that didn't make it through their necessary heats. Ralph Mayer starts on the front row alongside David Ward. Then it's Spencer Ayres and Colin Wynne. Paul Stout and Fausto Pinto make up row 3 ahead of Heinz Meyer and Stephen Haley. Then it's Mark Elvin and Michael Rowe, Byron Crawford and Ryan Penny just behind. Then it's Mark Phillips alongside Amrik Sashdev, Jared Coleman and Carl Hazelton. Andrew Marston lines up on row 9 with David Patching. Then it's Ross Dunstan. There you go, mate. I fixed your name. Paul Goffin 20th. Sam Sellers and Luke Holroyd, interestingly, near the back of the grid there in 22nd. Johnny Elia 23rd. Stephen Kershaw in 24th. Then we have Josh Bailey, Ethan Gardner and Gregory Butterworth. Now, I'm not sure if there's any details before the meeting that I'd missed, Peter, but Luke Holroyd starting that far down, that seems odd to me.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Now it looks like we've got a couple of cars started from the pits, so the Consolation race already, with a number of them not on the grid, including David Ward. We're underway. So Ralph Mayer has a nice, easy start out in front of everybody else. He's got the very scary Spencer Ayres car behind. Colin Wynne looking to the inside. 3 wide in here, big check up in there. Ryan Penny has a bit of contact, and there's a car around. It's David Patching. The worst possible start there for David. But everybody else is quite spread out at the front already, really. But plenty of time for them to make it through. Not. It's only 10 minutes this race rather than the 15 of the 2 heats that we've already seen. So this is where it gets a bit frantic now, Peter, because these guys need to cling on to whatever positions they can. More contact further back involving David Ward.
Yeah, I have to say I'm very confused, but it appears to have reversed the grid completely. So if you've just missed out on the feature, you then go to the back of the grid for the consolation. That seems incredibly bizarre. A little bit of a sloppy move there. Was that Holroyd going up the inside? That's not like Luke to do that. It's Josh Bailey, definitely the... oh dear, well, that's what happens. You've got to get in. You've got to get into the top 10 in this feature. It's in this consolation race to progress to the feature, and yeah, you've kind of got to.
Oh, Michael Rowe.
Time moves like that. Oh dear.
Michael Rowe is off, and he's going to have to do a donut to get back on. Oh, real shame for Michael Rowe. Now, look at this. Everybody looking down the inside of everybody else to try and make moves, and into the pits goes Mark Elvin in the Dirty Mankini machine. Now, it is a bit strange that it's reversed that, because Spencer Ayres was near the front of his heat, wasn't he? Well, obviously outside of the top 10. He was 11th or 12th.
Yeah, there's something bizarre happening. It's almost as if they stacked heat 1 or heat 2, all the finishes of heat 2 have gone after everyone in heat 1. I think that's what's happened. I think if you've been in heat 2 and you've not got in, you're automatically at the back half. That seems very strange.
No, because Luke Holroyd started 22nd, so that would have only meant that 5 or 6 cars
right, yes, of course.
from that heat.
But then they were reversed? I don't know.
I think maybe, because you can choose to reverse them when they progress to whatever next race. So I think the second heat's result has been reversed.
Oh dear.
That may need looking at by somebody like Mark Phillips, who's actually gained 8 places. He started 13th. He's up to 5th. We'll have to keep our eye on the Discord.
He's like, look at my influence working.
Yeah, we'll have to...
Is that Ernie on the back of the car? It is! On the rear right of the Ernie, Bernie's dog. Ernie and Ernie. Yeah. Oh. And I know that Mrs. P, Sally, will be watching as well. Hello, Mrs. Phillips. Hope you're enjoying it. I'm sure Bernie will be probably sleeping, I would think, on the sofa.
We usually have Mark Bowe's mum watching as well, don't we? Mrs. Bowe.
We do.
Watching the broadcast. There she is.
Bowe.
Yeah, we hope you're enjoying yourself as you did many a time last season, we were told. Ryan Penny then is now trying to hold on to 10th position, but Johnny Elia, who's already gained 12 spots. Now, Johnny was definitely at the forefront of the drivers that didn't get through from his heat. He's already on the brink of getting into this top 10. He started 23rd on the grid, and we're only on lap 3. Unbelievable stuff from Johnny, who's another one that was at Brands on the weekend.
When you're a Ford Transit driver, as Johnny is, you know what it's like to get through traffic in a hurry. When your keys on the table, you get through that traffic.
They're not as bad as the Mercedes Sprinter drivers that sit at 95 in the fast lane of the motorway, with no hands on the wheel. But
yeah.
That's
writing down the shopping list on the steering wheel.
Yeah, on their phone though.
Yeah.
But that's one for our. That's another page and another chapter for our book. I think it might end up in a book. We've got that much to cover. Colin Wynn hasn't got much to cover though. He's got car 4, P4 at the moment. And he's got the other 3 drivers that he needs to overtake right in front of him. Paul Stout is off. Oh, it looks like he's had a spin and then had to recover, actually. Paul, unfortunately, now dropping down to 21st place. But, yeah, the top 4 close together as things stand here. Oh, even closer now. Fausto Pinto has to go to the left-hand side. How he managed to squeeze that through there, I don't know. But Spencer Ayres is going to at least lose that position. Is Colin Wynn going to go with him, or is Spencer going to be late on the brakes? Spencer's very late on the brakes.
That's huge. How's he got that stopped? That's ridiculous.
I was expecting him to plough into Ralph Mayer there and smash through him like a bullet. Well, you know the phrase. But either way,
the Crockery Direct Warehouse. Yeah.
Colin Wynn now is suddenly on the attack. He's thinking, right, these guys are losing their marbles here. I need to crack on with this and get it done. But then there's the scary face of Bernie just making his way up the hill behind them. It was so daunting coming up to the right-hander. And now suddenly it's a top 5.
Now, there is a clear lesson here on screen right now, Chaz. Ralph Meyer and his brother Heinz, who have very kindly given such generous prizes with, via Crockery Direct. And
fragile.
Ryan. I didn't see Ryan Penny do anything wrong there, did you?
I did.
Not at all. No.
Was Ryan
I don't
even
think
there?
any form of literature needs to be turned into a projectile. I don't think so.
No, Ryan's not even in the race. What are you on about?
No. Yeah, if he was, he'd be winning. But anyway, Ralph Meyer. But what is being proven here is that if you put up such generous prizes, your car will automatically go faster.
Well, faster into the gravel.
Well, no. Ralph and Heinz have put up the prizes. Ralph is winning this race, so clearly we've reduced the size of the air restrictor and all the other cars to make sure that the sponsor wins. And that's exactly how the world goes round.
What they've done is they've
jammed at its best.
Jammed a piece of crockery into the restrictor. Oh, we're sorry, everybody. We'll do it right one day. We need to look at this in all honesty, though, because Stephen Kershaw has just gained his 14th position of the race. Johnny Healy has gained 15, I should say, and he's just up the road. But Stephen Kershaw has now got into the top 10 and a position in the final as he overtakes Amrik Sashdev. But he's got Amrik and Paul Goffin right behind, ready to take advantage. And to be honest, this battle in front, this could erupt at any time as well. It's only a 10-minute race, as mentioned, so we've got 3 minutes to go as of right now. I still think a lot could change here, Peter. Yeah,
it usually does in a consolation race. That's right. You can never give up, no matter what.
There you go.
There you go. There's 2 cars taking out the game. So you can never, ever, ever give up. Oh dear, Jared Coleman. Oh dear. See, there you go. That perfect example. Just took one gear, just changed down a gear a little bit too quickly, and
the car doesn't like it.
No, the car does not like it. It just goes no, thank you, and rear comes around. So that's what can happen is you can never give up in the consolation races, because it's amazing how many positions can be lost and gained just in those last 2 laps, which we're coming on to now. This will be the penultimate lap of the race, and if you're in these front 3, to be honest, you just want to get it to the flag here. Job done.
Yeah, you just keep it nice and tidy right now. There's a few battles going on further back. David Ward, who of course won the feature race at Hockenheim. Big job for him tonight in the gorgeous baby pink car. That really does suit that car, that colour. He's now right behind Johnny Elia. There has been a change for the lead. Fausto Pinto goes ahead of Meyer, but he then gets it stopped somehow. Oh, Fausto goes for the cutback. Doesn't work for him. Colin Wynn thinks, nah, I'm all right. Cheers, boys. Johnny Elia and Stephen Kershaw, I should say, both gained 16 spots. That's now 17 for Johnny, if he stays ahead of David Ward. But they're all just ganging up on one another. This is Stephen Haley and Byron Crawford side by side. I think there may have been some argy-bargy there with Fausto Pinto, because he has lost a lot of ground after Mark Phillips went through. Apologies.
I think Fausto maybe made the mistake on his own, did he? Or maybe a frame back? Okay. Or not.
Colin's giving him a kiss.
He'll need some gaffer tape for the front now.
He will indeed, yeah.
Oh dear.
Bernie moves
Fausto
up.
He will not be best pleased about that.
No, definitely not. But this man will be. Heinz Meyer disappearing off up the front of the field now. Bernie watching the track limiters get abused right in front of his face there by Colin Wynn. The 2 of them almost side by side now as they come across the line. Final lap of the race now. Mark Phillips just down the inside. That's 11 places gained for Mr. Phillips. And Colin tries to get a run around the outside. And look at Spencer Ayres coming through. He's all over the back of Fausto Pinto. And then David Ward has to go one way. Johnny Elia has to go the other. This is going to be a mess. I'm sorry, boys. I have to say it. Let's have a look how they sort this out.
What's your pet hate, Chaz?
My pet hate is people moving over in a straight line. Let's see if we get any of that now that Fausto Pinto has been compromised. David Ward's on the grass on the right-hand side. All 4 wheels somehow saves that after it starts to go sideways. Colin Wynn is back in front of Mark Phillips. Spencer Ayres. David Ward chucks it down the inside. How he got that stopped and controlled, I do not know. Great avoidance by Fausto Pinto because he saw that coming. and somehow it didn't end up in an accident. It might still end up in an accident because they're all over each other. Amazing racing, but they don't need to do it. You just need to hold on to these positions, boys. You don't have to push it too hard. Carl Hazelton's decided he wants to have a break in the gravel. And Spencer somehow staying ahead of these boys, but up the road, over the crest, into the penultimate corner. Heinz Meyer is going to do the job he needed to do. He started on pole. Sorry, Ralph Meyer. Apologies, Heinz. And apologies, Ralph. But he gets the job done in the consolation race, gets through to the final. Hard work paid off for him. Colin Wynn doesn't quite win, but gets second place. Mark Phillips third. Spencer Ayres is going to be fourth, just ahead of David Ward, Fausto Pinto, Johnny Elia, Amrik Sashdev, and Paul Goffin, with Stephen Haley rounding out the top 10. Commiserations to Byron Crawford, Ross Dunstan, Stephen Kershaw, Josh Bailey, Greg Butterworth. Wait, Stephen finished ahead of these guys on the road. I think he has been moved down a spot. I think he got a penalty or something, and he's been moved down a spot there, because unless they slowed down and I missed that. But still, Josh Bailey, Greg Butterworth, Paul Stout, Heinz Meyer, Carl Hazelton, Michael Rowe, Jared Coleman, Luke Holroyd, Ryan Penny, Mark Elvin, David Patching as well. A massive list of drivers get knocked out when the consolation race is over. But I really want to know what happened to Luke Holroyd for him to be that far down on the grid, really.
I think he might well have taken himself for an orange zone drive-through, because you remember he did get in contact on the first lap. I can't remember who it was with. I think it might have been Haley, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
And so that might well have. And then in a 10-minute race, if you take a drive-through, you're stuffed, as they say.
Yes, you are indeed. Now, this is the moment where we just have a quick look through some of the results of the evening's races so far. Hope you've been enjoying the action, because it's certainly been a lot of fun to watch at this point. Jacob Toft took the first race win with Christian Zaruta in second place. Matt Dorrington went through in third with Austin Greatorex and Tom Slater. Then it's Stuart Clark, Andrew Shepherd, Mark Bowe, Gavin Halls and João Estevez that went through from that heat. Heat 2 went the way of Mark Baxter-Jones, just half a second ahead of Paul Rieger. Simon Povey and Carl Sharkey, after a great battle, finished third and fourth. Stephen Harpham and Rob Sharp were fifth and sixth. Chris Byron was seventh, ahead of Mark Johnson. Danny Jones and Oliver Carbadine was the last car from that heat to go through. And then, of course, the consolation, which we just saw there. Ralph, not Heinz Meyer, gets first place with Colin Wynn and Mark Phillips rounding out your podium. Spencer Ayres and David Ward were fourth and fifth, with Fausto Pinto just about finishing ahead of Johnny Elia. Then we had Stephen Kershaw, Amrik Sashdev and Paul Goffin, who will go through to the final from that one. So plenty of action so far, Peter. Jacob Toft's looking pretty unstoppable again, but with the reverse grid, we saw how he got caught out at Hockenheim with that big incident. Do you think we're going to see similar again this time?
Ooh, I hope not. I think there were a couple of slapped wrists after last week's slightly difficult start to the feature race. So I do think the drivers will be quite, they'll be a bit. I think they'll be really quite on the ball with that one this week. And so far, so good. I mean, apart from maybe the desperation of the consolation race, which is normal, the driving standards have been just superb actually. So lots of really good racing too. So no, I don't think so. I think we're going to be good for this week's race, I think.
Well, we shall certainly keep our eye on it. Now we're just going to take a quick break for a few minutes or so here, everybody, and we'll let you keep your eye on the action as warm-up continues. But if you give me and Peter about 3 to 4 minutes, we'll be right back with you. Right then, everybody. It is time to get the final race of the night underway. It's time to shut the music up as well, because this thing comes around very, very quickly indeed. As you see, Oliver Carwadine at the very front of the field with João Estevez alongside him. Danny Jones and Gavin Halls will make up row 2. To be fair, Peter, we said it before, Gavin Hall's probably the favourite for this one, isn't he?
I think from that grid position, yeah, he's going to be tough to beat. But yeah, I think he's looking pretty strong from there. But as we know, just takes one tiny mistake and it flips it round again.
Although I think he might be starting from the pits, you know, because he's not made it to the grid yet.
He did have a pit lane start for the heat. So I wonder if that then applies to the whole meeting. I'm not sure, to be honest.
No, he's starting from the pits, so well,
okay.
That's throwing that out the window. Shows what we know, but either way, David Ward, Ross Dunstan and Gavin Halls with Stephen Haley in the pits. Sorry, Steve, we will sort your name, but Carwadine leads us away then at the start from the Red Bull Ring. Final race of the night. Our beautiful, colourful field makes their way up to turn 1. João Estevez looks down the inside. I think Carwadine's overdone it. So too is Mark Johnson. He goes straight on. Everyone else behind. Oh, there is contact. Johnny Elia involved.
Povey around.
Oh, yeah, Povey backwards. Nice spot, Peter. Simon Povey at the very back. And the other pink car of David Ward is coming up through the field. But up to the top of the hill they go. Oh, I don't know how none of them made contact there. Well, then again, touch wood, just wait for it. Now they're 3 wide in the middle there. That's Dorrington on the left, or at least on the right. Carl Sharkey on the left, and in the middle, I think, is Stephen Harpham. The 3 of them edging closer and closer together. Look at that, Zaruta down the inside. Oh, big crash in front.
Demolition job.
Stuart Clark goes flying. Rob Sharp in there as well. Rob's still off the road. I can't catch him. There he is.
Was that Greater X involved in that? It was one of the Porsche sport cars.
I have to have a quick look. Simon
Povey.
Povey.
Like at all.
Simon Povey's had his own issue further back. Let's have a look with Greater X. So Austin's in the white and gold car on the right. Oh,
that is gutting.
Stuart Clark just lost. Well, to be fair, Austin actually 360'd it and styled it out. But yeah, Stuart Clark just
locked it up on the brakes. That's going down the gearbox too quickly. And yes, that's exactly what it is. And it's the only time when the car doesn't give you a warning of what's going to happen. Normally, if you get a slide, you go, okay, the car's like, okay, warning you now. Oh, dear.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Oh, dear.
That was the 992 machine having a massive, massive moment there. Well, the 992...
Sharp's been stabbed.
He has indeed. This is the battle for the lead, believe it or not. No, it's not. This is the battle for second place. Sorry. So don't believe me. It's hard to know where
That's exactly
to look.
what happened to Clark there. Just going down the gearbox, and then when you as soon as you click that gear, whoosh, you're gone.
Yeah. And
that's why it obviously caught Greater X by surprise. I mean, what Austin Greater X there couldn't have done anything to avoid that. But João Estevez, he's off.
Yeah,
he's off like a shot. Look at him, the man from Porto.
Absolutely flying. Oh, 3 wide here. Tom Slater having a go with Matt Dorrington, who's gone very, very wide indeed. Christian Saruta's going to try and come through now in the flying bogey, as Peter calls it. Down the inside. Tom Slater needs to be aware now that Dorrington's still there. And actually, Dorrington gets a great run. I wouldn't put it past him trying to get past Oliver Carwadine here as well. Dorrington on the right-hand side. They're 3 wide. Don't think Carwadine knew he was there. Carwadine's actually later on the brakes, turns it in, but he's gone off in a different postcode. And look at that. Tom Slater, Zaruta, 3 wide there as well with Jacob Tofts, who's managed to get his way into this. Oh, Zaruta and Carwadine into each other. They're all aware of him coming back on, but that was a little bit naughty.
By the flying bogey.
He did. So this is Colin Wynn going off the circuit for a moment as well. Oh, he just goes very wide. And up ahead, it was all just amazing stuff, but now watch this from Zaruta, because we'll keep an eye on him. He had to somehow come back to the right-hand side, but watch the white and teal car behind him of Jacob Tofts. He sees a gap. How there wasn't a crash between Carwadine and Slater there, I don't know. Look at Tofts. He has his own line, gets a great cutback, goes down the inside, and then we're going to miss it because of the trees. But they all bunch up together. And then there's just the tiniest of touches
I don't think Saruta saw him. I don't think he knew he was in the blind spot there.
No.
I really don't. I think unless you're running on a sophisticated triple screen setup or running in with a virtual reality headset, you're just not. You just don't have the vision. Drilled.
Carwadine got headbutted at the next corner as well.
That's one of the Crockery Direct cars.
That was
clearly
Ralph.
that's some sort of technical intervention there that, because it wouldn't be the Crockery Direct guys that made a mistake. Definitely not. That doesn't happen.
It's a real shame.
Thanks for the prizes, chaps. So generous. It's very nice.
It really is.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, what a bruising encounter there. But yeah, I think that's just what happened to Saruta. Although he was probably. Slater's around.
No.
Oh, they're both in the wall. Who's that?
Greater X.
Is that? Oh, goodness me.
Austin kept his foot in there as well, by the look of it. Oh, there's more contact, is there?
Oh dear. I'm sure Austin will be so calm right now as well.
Oh yeah. I really don't know what caused that. Let's have a look. Wow, it went on for a while. So Austin into the last corner. Oh, Slater drops it.
Oh.
And then Austin's.
Oh. To be fair, it was nothing. It was just a mistake from Slater, and it was nothing. Again, Austin Greatrex in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Just got caught
completely defenseless, yeah. And Jacob Toffs missed that by millimeters.
Oh yeah.
Well.
Yeah, he somehow scraped past that. And this is the thing in these races, you have to survive. Dorrington has gained 11 places up to 5th. Tofts has gained 14 places, and Saruta's gained 11 as well. Phillips has gained 10. Johnny Elia and Stephen Kershaw, 12 each. Josh Bailey, 12 each. And there's more contact involving Austin Greater X.
Oh.
Austin in a very, very battered 992. Off the road again. I think Stuart Clark involved in this, and Steve Harpham. Harpham, he just
for goodness sake.
Moves over to the racing line.
Poor old Austin, what has he got to do? And he's not a guy I would pick a fight with, to be honest. He's an army boy. I would no chance.
It's a real shame. Like you say, wrong place, wrong time. This guy, well, quite the opposite, really. João Estevez, 3.7 seconds clear of Mark Johnson with his absolute train behind him, which is Bo, Byram, Dorrington, Tufts, Saruta, and Sharkey, just hanging off the back of that train. Now look at Dorrington on Byram. Round the outside. Oh, look at Tofts. Thank you very much, sir. On the right-hand side, lovely stuff from reigning champion Jacob Tofts. He's not running the number 1 this season, and that upsets me. But fantastic.
That should be against the law. That should just be the law. If you win the title, you have to run the number 1.
Yeah, I always thought so. In things like, it all started with MotoGP, really, because no matter how many times Rossi won it, he would never be number 1. But didn't Casey Stoner change to be number 1?
He did, and it didn't go very well
No.
the year after, as did Lorenzo, same again. The only rider in recent time that's made the number 1 work is Jonathan Ray.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he do that in World Superbikes?
Six championships on the trot in World Superbikes, and this is the closest him and Toprak are going into the title decider. Toprak's got a pretty good lead, so Ray could be going back to his 65. But 6 world titles, it's something like something ridiculous, like a 75% podium.
Oh
rate.
my life.
Just like, that's ridiculous.
That's scary.
That
is scary.
Imagine having to race against that. It would just ruin you.
And to be fair, much like in Formula 1, I bet a lot of people support his rival just because they don't want to support him because they don't like the fact that he wins all the time.
There's a bit of that, yeah. There is a bit of that.
Yeah. Anyway, before I get into that, Dorrington on the left-hand side of Mark Bowe, doing a nice job to carry a lot of speed around the outside line at turn 1. Tries to go as late as he dares on the brakes, but he's got a Mark Johnson right in front of him. Zaruta down the inside of Byram just behind, and watch Jacob Tofts here. Say what? Let's never mind watching. We'll go on board with him. Not that you can see much, because that is Mark Bowe right in front of him. You can see the camber on the car as well. Lovely angle there as he goes down the hill. A little bit later on the brakes. Tofts gets his nose down the inside. Mark says no thank you. It's hard to tell how close they are together from that camera angle, but Tofts gets it done temporarily. And Dorrington's trying to get it done on Johnson as well. That's great stuff from Jacob Tofts. Great commitment. Nice fair racing as well from Mark Bowe. I think Mark thought, now, you know what, I'm not going to fight this too hard. I'm just going to get out of that because this guy is going to be moving forward no matter how hard I try. But Mark Bowe, you know, we've seen him be very, very quick, and he's putting some amazing performances. I think it's just picking his battles at this point. Toft's watching Dorrington try it down the inside of Johnson. Johnson's going to be wide. Toft's is, no matter what Dorrington does here, Peter, Toft's is just there to just take advantage and follow him through, although it doesn't quite work there, but he's such a clever racer, isn't he, Jacob? He just knows exactly where to be and when.
Yeah, he's got, shall we say, a wise head on young shoulders. But here comes Bowe again. He's not... Wow, what a move. Mark
Lovely.
Bowe. That is just textbook stuff from Mark Bowe there. Just lined that one up. He saw Jacob sort of bickering with Johnson there and thought, I fancy he's probably forgotten about me. And Christian Cerruta and the flying bogey is stuck all over the back of Mark Bowe. And here they go into the braking zone. This is going to require a lot of cooperation, and they do.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, look
brilliant
at
stuff. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Sharky in there too, in the Shark e-bikes machine. Super. This has been a superb finale, and really, of course, remember last time out, Jacob Toft, although he might have been defending champion, fastest driver in his heat, but didn't win the feature, of course, because he was held up in that incident. So there is a high likelihood that Jacob Toft, now this is something I didn't think we would say, Jacob Toft could be leaving round 2 without a win in his pocket.
He could, yeah. He really could.
And I think we've got to get used to that format, I think, where it's more about, it's almost a little bit like you say, your dear friend Ash Sutton, Chaz, and that's what he's done. He's not actually won that many races. He won, what, 6 races?
Five races this year.
No, 6, because he was the same as Cookie, wasn't he? Or
no,
equal them.
No,
you're
he
right.
was,
No, you're right. Why would I doubt you on Ash Sutton stats? 5. But he won the championship by miles because he picked the points when others didn't, and that's kind of what is going to be the key to this championship.
Well, it was quite a different scenario as well, because I think it was 2017 when Ash first won the title. He won the most races, and I think the most that anybody else had won was like 2 races, and I think Ash won 6 that year. You know, that was incredible in terms of race wins, but yeah, like you say, he's dialed it back in certain races this year and done that. Jacob Toft might have to do that and go for the points here, but it doesn't look like it there as he goes down the inside of Mark Johnson. Lovely move into turn 3, putting the pressure on and eventually relinquishing said pressure and turning it into an overtaking manoeuvre. And now he's on to a podium position. Matt Dorrington 1.1 seconds ahead, and then João Estevez is 1.4 seconds clear of him. But to be honest, there's quite a while left to go in this race. We're not even at half race distance yet. These guys have to think about tyres in this encounter as well, as opposed to not having to worry so much about it in the heats.
Yeah, it's a different, like you say, another 10 minutes is a completely different ball game. But Dorrington last time was over a second faster on the lap than João Estevez. So Dorrington is going to be on top as... Oh dear, that was close. As that's Gavin Halls coming through from pit lane, of course, and what a drive that's been from Gav up to 12th place. Old Bernie overtaken by new Bernie. Who would that be? This Ross? No. What's his name? Chase Carey. A bit more. He's a big cuddly teddy bear in comparison to Bernie, with a mustache.
Yeah.
I don't think Gav has a mustache, but you know.
Well, could be worse. You could have a man bun. But Gavin Halls
that is a lot worse.
watching Johnny Elia go down the inside of Andrew Shepherd, and he caught him counting sheep there, you could say. Andrew Shepherd was really asleep on the exit. Look at that, he's been absolutely mugged there. Austin Greatorex goes one side, Mark Phillips goes the other. They're going to take Stephen Harpham with him as well. He really was counting sheep, wasn't he? It was Andrew Shepherd. I think he's just trying to stay out of trouble here, to be honest with you. He wants to just bag some points. Stops it on the apex. Harpham can't get through. Kershaw there as well. It's the battle of the Stevens behind him. They queue up.
Yeah, fluffed that corner. I tell you what, Austin Greatorex is doing an unbelievable job here. He had 2 huge contacts. That car is really bashed up. That will just kill his straight line speed. And if there's one thing you need at the Red Bull Ring, it's straight line speed. So Austin was showing his tenacity here, and really sorry, I'm laughing at the sponsor on the back of Bernie's car, Wix.com. Brilliant. There's Ernie.
There's Ernie. Oh. Bless him. Yeah, but a fantastic banter as well by Gilles Gardner, who made that livery. Not only that, but the fact that, Mark is still happy to run it. He's just embodying the spirit of the championship and the good vibes that come with it. Ross Dunstan has had a moment. Oh, he's just gone too hot down the bottom of the hill. It was him that was involved in the contact earlier on in the race, as you can see by the front left of the car. And it's gone one way, then the other on him. Oh, Ross. It's so easy to do, though, when you're trying to recover and get back on the track as fast as possible. It's so easy just to overdo it a bit. Suddenly the whole thing just completely zigzags and snakes away from you, and that is it. Zaruta, Bow and Sharkey having a fight right now. Mark Bow is the only car in the field that is currently in the same position that he started the race. In 6th. Gets a lovely, tries a lovely cutback on Zaruta. Doesn't quite work that time.
I really hope Mark Bowe's mum is watching. I really hope Mrs. Bowe is watching, because Mark is driving his socks off here. This is really, really impressive stuff. And is the Sharky now going to have a look up the inside in the Shark e-bikes machine? Yes, it is. But Bowe's not going to have it. We saw him retaliate on Jacob Toft, no less, and pull off a beautiful move to get back again. So he's got it in him tonight. He's loving this Red Bull Ring circuit. Christian Tsuruta as well, once again, he's looking in his mirror saying, Carl, you are my best friend. Like, yes, just hold up some more drivers and I shall scamper off into the distance again as well. 10 minutes to go. Dorrington and Toffs now past. Estevez has dropped to 3rd.
Apologies
that
for
happened very quickly.
Yeah. Mark
and Estevez sets a personal best while he's at it. What?
What? I will have a look at this. So we will see the move for P1. It was all while it was all going on with Phillips and Shepherd. He's just gone a little bit too hot into the top of the hill, and that's what changed that. Jacob Tofts then got it done towards the end of that lap. I think Zhao was maybe going to let him go. He's made him go around the outside. Yeah, Zhao just brakes early. Says now there's no point fighting that too hard. He wants to bag some strong points from this one. And now he's got Mark Johnson behind him, but he's done a fantastic job so far. We will, of course, try to mention the fact that he's the lead AM driver. If you look at the windscreen banners on the cars, if we look here, you'll see on the windscreen banner of Mark Johnson's car, there's a little blue square on the right-hand side. That says AM, which means they're in the amateur category. And then the likes of Dorrington and Tofts are in the red category, which is pro. Now, we will have those colours updated for you on stream for next time. As mentioned earlier, there was a lot of things that we did want to make sure we improved and details to iron out, but unfortunately I've had a hell of a lot of things going on, I'm afraid. I went straight to Misano after the last stream and with the European Truck Racing Championship, so I was out there for 5 days, and I can tell you, Peter, I said last time that the Germans were going to feed me alcohol. Oh, boy, did they. Wow. It was certainly a 5-day party, but still, this is now...
Some truck racing might have happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, at some point. I don't really remember it.
So that's brilliant. We've got an AM driver in the overall podium as Toft's going for the overall lead and in pro. And can he get it done? Dorrington's not going to let him have it easy.
Just about avoiding
leading it in the AM class. What a super job.
He, of course, won in the AM class. I believe it was in Season 2 at Laguna Seca in the opening round. They're so close together, though, between Dorrington and Tofts. I think Tofts got out of shape. Maybe a bit of contact there as well. Dorrington won't take that lightly. He's going to try and carry it around the outside. That's going to give him the inside for the next left-hander. Uses as much road as he can. Watch out for Tofts getting the cut back. Like you said before, Peter, this is a real switchback part of the circuit, but Dorrington holds on for now.
Yeah, super stuff. Now, hello, Mrs. Genevieve Bowe. Is Mark's wife. Mark Bowe's wife is watching. Hello. So wife and mum watching as well. So Mark Bowe has got, that's full-on fan club as Dorrington snips the nose off Tofts at the very last moment. This is what we've come for. Yeah. This is what we've been craving, isn't it, Chaz? We've been really longing for this sort of battle for such a long time. A proper head-to-head, no-holds-bars ding-dong between Dorrington and Tofts. Who's going to go? Who's going to take this one? Impossible to call.
6.5 minutes still to go as well, so plenty of time to decide. Excuse me, knocking the microphone. Very unprofessional. But this right now...
Shout, all right, love, down
there. Tofts is trying to find any gap he can. Nearly making contact as well. getting a little bit feisty there. Dorrington won't approve of that. He's gone hot into the corner at the top of the hill. He's going to get a good run on the exit, though. But Toft needs to give him room to come back on. Toft gets it. It was a bit scary on the way up to there, though. I think Dorrington's going to give as good as he gets. And that's the thing with some of these drivers. They really, really do give each other as good as they can get. Round the outside, Dorrington makes it stick, does he? Is there a tap? There is. They're both off the road. No, they're not. Dorrington is. Dorrington's off. Oh, and it's just going to drag him out wide. I'm not sure if Toft hung him out to dry a bit too much there. Initially, I'd say yes, he did, but it's whether he was just trying to correct a slide or something. Dorrington will be absolutely raging with that one. Esteves still holding on, by the way, ahead of Zaruta and Johnson, who is also an AM driver. So that's second place in AM, Zaruta third in Pro, but yeah, Dorrington will not be pleased with that. We should have a look, really, shouldn't we?
Yes, I think so. It's hard to tell from that angle. There's the...
Oh, they sort of stuck together, didn't they?
I mean... It boggles for a simpleton like me. Yeah, that's what they call netcode, or I like to call it digital aero wake. So for our viewers, for a simpleton like me, it will continue to boggle my mind that we can have drivers all over the world, or indeed all over the UK, or wherever they might be, racing in this level of detail of simulation in real time, as you would in the outdoor racing world. The fact that can all be done over the internet just astounds me. It will continue to astound me. The only thing is that very occasionally, depending on the speed of the internet or whatever, you can just get, and it only takes a millimeter or two of discrepancy, and that can just cause a slightly strange contact. So you just have to leave that little bit extra touch of room to avoid those sorts of things. But you couldn't really put any fault at any particular driver there. Just one of those unfortunate things. You'll be able to explain the tech behind it, Chaz, but hopefully I've given the layman's explanation of what happened there.
No, totally. Basically, you've got to remember that all of these guys, they'll be racing on their own PCs and their own rigs at home, which not only is it calculating the inputs from their steering wheels, from their pedals, thousands of times a second, it's then feeding that to the PC that's putting it into the game, that is then communicating that to the server, which these guys are all connected to race on, and then that is communicating all of that information to everybody else, all within milliseconds. And that's why we get the simulation in such detail. So the way these cars bounce around, they wiggle around on the brakes, they move on the curbs, the suspension there, you see it hitting the sausage curbs and reacting to it. That is all happening live as we see it. And it's incredible, incredible technology. But with the great technology, unfortunately, comes the little discrepancies here and there that Peter mentioned. So if there is a sudden blip, or what they call packet loss, if just one little packet of information communicated from somebody's sim or somebody's PC just goes slightly wrong and doesn't get communicated in the right way, it can suddenly cause like a spike or a ghost contact. We call it netcode because the coding from one contact to the next isn't quite calculated properly, and suddenly it spits a car off the road. That's what you get there. But like Peter said, it still boggles my mind as well that we can race like this, and it looks so realistic, and the cars behave in a realistic way, the force feedback and all of the equipment these drivers use, it's so real. A lot of the physical inputs you put in are real, and the mental strain can be real as well. It really is a beautiful thing, sim racing, but unfortunately, as it is simulated, sometimes things like that don't quite go as they would in the real world. And that's what we got there. So Tofts leads it by 1.5 seconds now from Dorrington. Either way, I think Dorrington will be pretty happy at this point, Peter, to still be in second place overall, because it's a good chunk of points that he needs early on in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a long championship, and for those leading drivers who, let's be honest, are going to be always up the front in their heat, they're going to qualify up the front, they're going to usually be in those front few places. That means they're always going to have the peril of, and the potential danger of working their way through from the mid-pack to the front. And that's going to throw up, well, look at what happened to poor old Austin Greatrex. He did nothing wrong and had, 3 crashes in front of him, basically. And he's down in 12th place. To be honest, he's done an amazing job to still be running in 12th place, quite honestly. But, it's Byram's off. The Fresh Prince of PCGB.
I think he had some assistance, I'm afraid.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
I lost
no.
it. I just lost it on the... Well, he was starting to lose it and then got a final help.
Yeah, indeed. Went one way, then the other. To be fair, Mark Bowe put the car where any of us would have put it. The car started to spit to the right, so he went left. But then, unfortunately, the car decided that it wanted to go back to the left-hand side. Now, somebody that's just helped out João Estevez a lot is this man, Carl Sharkey. He's obviously in the Pro class. João Estevez is in the AM class, and he was under pressure a moment ago from Mark Johnson. But now Sharkey has attacked Johnson and got past him overall. That means that João's got a bit of breathing room in terms of his class position. 1.1 seconds back to Mark Johnson as we go on to the final lap of the race. Could very well be on for an AM win here.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely superb drive from João Estevez. Now, Mark Bowe coming into pit lane here. Now, this could be a drive-through penalty for accrual of incident points. Now, quickly we'll explain what they are. iRacing basically assigns automatically a penalty. If you step over track limits, it will give you 1 incident point. If you spin, it will give you 2. And if you hit another car, it's the bad one, you get 4. And I think it's, forgive me if I'm wrong, Chaz, I think it's 16 or 17 per race.
Yeah.
Something in that region. So it looks like Mark's gone over that. That's such a pity because he was running so well.
And one of the frustrating things can be with those 4 incident points is even if the contact isn't your fault, it will still give you 4.
Yeah, you get rear-ended.
Yeah, that's the real only downside to it from me is, it's very difficult for the sim to apportion blame very quickly. Now, João Estevez needs to be careful here because Carl Sharkey, while he's going through, could mean that Johnson is there as well. We need to look back to the front, though, in just a sec. See, looks like João's got it nice and tidy, but this man, well, we thought he might not get a win earlier on. It may be a bit of a controversial way of doing it, but Jacob Tofts, your reigning champion of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series, comes out of the final corner at Red Bull Ring to win fantastically this evening. Awesome stuff from Jacob Tofts. Fastest lap of the race on the last lap as well. Matt Dorrington crosses the line second. Zaruta, great drive from him. Carl Sharkey is fourth, and João Estevez takes the win in the AM class. Brilliant performance by João. Mark Johnson takes second in class. Paul Rieger is just behind, seventh overall, and it's Gavin Hall's Johnny Elia next up with Austin Greatorex grabbing a top 10. Well done to him.
Wow.
Awesome stuff. David Ward, 11th after gaining 14 spots, and third, despite that moment near the end in the AM class, is Chris Byram. But Jacob Tofts, Peter, well, to be fair, I don't think any of us picked him to be the favourite for that one, but I don't see why not now.
Yeah, we should learn not to ever doubt him. Quite extraordinary. I mean, I'm sure that there'll be differing opinions of that particular incident, but certainly from the angles we could see, it just did appear to be an unfortunate netcode contact, which can happen. And well, Jacob and Matt will know that better than anyone. So I'm sure Matt will take it in good spirit as well. Matt's not one to complain, to be honest. He will just roll his sleeves up even further and go quicker the next race. That's the sort of driver Matt Dorrington is. And get on there, Jacob. Yeah, fantastic. A little bit. Now, you can do that a lot better in these cars. You can slip and slide them around. And,
yeah.
360 it. Meant it. Fantastic. From our... now, well, also we should say as well, Chaz, Gavin Hall from pit lane to 8th spot. That's a damage limitation job, and he can now put his penalty behind him and go for the big points next time out.
Yeah, it was a fantastic drive by Gavin. Really well done indeed. After considering that he was meant to start 4th on the grid and then went all the way to the back of the pits and came through, like you say, awesome stuff. But it helps this championship at least with getting a good score this time around. It's not a 0. Jacob Tofts takes the win tonight then overall by 5.4 seconds from Matt Dorrington in the end. He really opened that gap up in the final couple of laps. I believe the only driver all night to go quicker than a 1:30 as well. 1:29.98 at the end of the race. Zaruta gets 3rd place ahead of Carl Sharkey with João Estevez in 5th. Mark Johnson finishes 2nd in the AM class ahead of Paul Rieger with Gavin Halls, Johnny Elia and Austin Greatorex rounding out the top 10. David Ward finishes 11th overall, just ahead of Chris Byram, who is 3rd in the AM class. Stephen Harpham 13th, Mark Phillips in 14th. Then it's Mark Baxter-Jones and Stephen Kershaw. Andrew Shepherd is 17th ahead of Byron Crawford in 18th position. And it's Mark Bowe and Stephen Haley rounding out the top 20. Danny Jones and Josh Bailey are 21st and 22nd. Paul Goffin and Amrik Sashdev 23rd and 24th. Fausto Pinto 25th with Spencer Ayres just behind them. Gregory Butterworth is 27th ahead of Tom Slater in 28th. He's the last finisher on the lead lap. Rob Sharp, Ralph Mayer and Oliver Carwadine 1 lap down. Stuart Clark 8 laps down with Ross Dunstan 9. And then unfortunately Colin Wynne and Simon Povey retiring in the opening couple of laps. Well, another lively night of racing, Peter, and to be honest it was maybe a bit unfair if we judge the format off just the first meeting, because even the drivers are getting used to it at that point. What have you made of the format so far in the series? Because, to be fair, I always think that this sort of format really does shake the racing up more than, not more than it needs to be, but more than, let's just call it normal racing would. I think it's really, really entertaining to watch. What about you?
I completely agree. I think it's been fantastic, and I think the improvement of the, not that we were at a low level, not even close, from 2 weeks ago to now is night and day. And I think you can give credit to a lot of different parties for that. First of all, the drivers themselves, the drivers who are sitting behind the wheel, it's all up to them to drive in the right way. And they all have done some superb racing. I mean, really, really good stuff. But also for the organisers, it's not easy, because a lot of all of the organisers are racing as well, and it's very tough when you're an organiser to race and try to make sure you prove your impartiality. You can be as impartial as you want, but you've got to continually prove that to the whole paddock, and that's not an easy thing to do, and it's not an easy thing to manage. And look at the packed grid of cars we had in this championship. We started off with 10 Porsche GT4 cars at Lime Rock Park for a 20-minute sprint. Now we've got a full championship with pro and am drivers. It is superb, and it is down to, we joke about Bernie Phillips. He's been a huge part of it. Carl Sharkey, Matt Dorrington, Christian Suruta, Gavin Halls. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but well done to all. It's a whole team effort, and that's why we had such good entertainment tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is. The guys have done an absolutely mega job to make this series what it is, and it does continue to go from strength to strength. And a driver that does that as well, despite having a very tough first meeting of the season, is Jacob Tofts. Now, Jacob, I'll admit to you, Peter and I, when going into that final race, neither of us picked you as the favourite because we thought Gavin Halls was starting fourth, so we'll brush that under the rug as quickly as possible. Did you expect to win that final race from where you were starting? Because it doesn't always look like the easiest circuit to overtake on.
Certainly not. It's nice to be back, first of all. It must have been a while. Obviously, last round didn't go too well. Just got unlucky in the first race. I think loads of people did. But I definitely got lucky here. Austin got very unlucky. And I was just able to pick my way through. I think I still got a bit of contact and had a tiny bit of damage, but just was able to manage.
Yeah, it looked a bit like it was down to survival in certain places compared to other rounds that we're going to see further along the line. But, a lot of the racing around Red Bull Ring, it's quite a high-speed circuit. You really have to be on your toes through that one. Did you take a sort of reserved approach early on in that race, or did you just gun it and just pray for the best?
Reserved. Reserved's best. I mean, I didn't have much of a chance to go reserved at the first round, but I learnt last season go reserved, and especially on the first few laps, it's the best way just to hang back instead of going too wide through a corner. Give yourself the whole track to avoid or move out of the way of an incident, and it definitely helped here.
And what's the format like for you drivers? I mean, we obviously get to entertain ourselves and watch all of it up here with you guys all battling it out on track. But as a driver, when you've done your heat and you're waiting for the other heat and then the consolation, if you've made it through to begin with, what sort of pressure does that build up on you guys? Are you feeling relaxed in that time, or is it something that you use as sort of like a mental build-up for the final race?
Definitely relaxed, because we've got 4 of us for Porsche Sport. We're never really in the same heat, so there's normally 2 of us in one, 2 of us in the other. We just help each other during the heats, and then that I would never really thinking about the feature until the consolation or the end of the 5-minute warm-up. So that I think that helps. I don't really think I get very nervous anyway. I'm not sure. More wheel-to-wheel stuff. Maybe I start to get nervous there, like with Matt. That was just good fun. Just the adrenaline going high on adrenaline a bit. But
yeah.
The start's just not really much.
Now, I can imagine that moments like that, especially racing someone as quick as Matt as well, we've always seen Matt in this championship doing incredibly well when he's not been too busy and he's been on the grid. He's always been entertaining, but you've got a title to defend as well. It's gone well now, of course, with that one, but Hockenheim being a tough one, do you think that's going to affect your season a lot, or do you reckon that you could bring it back from this point onwards?
I think bring it back, definitely. It's just consistency and try and avoid things like I was unlucky at round 1, some people were lucky. I'm not even sure where I am in the standings, actually. I haven't looked. But yeah, we're only 2 rounds in, so there's a long way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on for the rest of the season, reigning champion. But before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Just my teammates Austin, Paul and Luke for helping during our heat races. And Paul, who's, I don't know if you've noticed, he's been in the YouTube chat on the Porsche Sport account, as well as My Dash Simulation, Strasser, Johnny Moore Watches and Shark E-Bikes, and you guys and all the organisers.
Cracking stuff. Thank you very much, Jacob. Great to speak to you, mate. Well done on your win, and we will see you again very, very soon.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Really, really nice young lad is Jacob Toft. Well spoken and very well composed as well, to be honest with you. And somebody else that remained composed in that last one there was driving what Peter calls the flying bogey. Christian Saruta joins us in the box. Christian, you look like you had to work quite hard for that one there, but you just picked them off one by one. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was like picking a bogey from a nose. Someone on the last corner of the second lap, I almost got absolutely binned. Someone rejoining out from the kind of the paint on the far left-hand side, and then Jacob and Matt got past. And I'm not sure if I had damage or not, but I was just trying to just not bin it for the rest of the race at that point, because I didn't think I was going to catch Matt or Jacob, but I knew I had the pace to at least get up to third, so I just kind of kept it clean and tidy and tried not to get too carried away and excited.
Well, that's it, I suppose, because we were just asking Jacob there about the adrenaline of these races, and he was saying when you are battling, the adrenaline does get to you, but when you're in the middle of the pack, do you have to sort of subdue that a lot, or do you sort of channel that into like a positive thing to try and move forward?
I don't know. I just try and be as careful as I can, because if you don't, there's a high likelihood that you'll end up just binning it and ending up at the back. So I think kind of bit of caution is the best way forward, and then it also keeps you a bit calmer as well. You're not too frantic and hectic running nose to tail with 5 other cars. You just give everyone a bit of space and pick your way through and work your way through, and just, as I say, not get too carried away. Just know you've got the pace to pick people off one by one. It's a long race, it's 25 minutes, so there's plenty of time to if you just wait a bit, there's plenty of time to make progress.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's all about using the length of the race to your advantage, really, because with the sprint racing, it's never easy to do the job instantly, especially for some of the guys that go into the consolation race as well. But again, even if you just get your heat right and then go into the final, that extra 10 minutes really does make a difference on the tyres, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it just makes a difference overall. I think, when it's a sprint race, obviously last time round I just ended up wheel spinning off all the starts and ended up going through the whole 3 races to get through to the feature race. And the 10-minute race, that is a bit more frantic. You've got to really go for it and use up all your track limits and just try and get your way through as quickly as possible. But when you've got much more time, like I said, the tyres go off if you try too hard, and you end up using up all your 1Xs and getting a penalty if you try too hard. So just, like I say, you've got a long race, so just take it a bit easier, as it seems to work.
Yeah, it's certainly not been the easiest of things to get used to, obviously with it being a new car as well.
Yeah, that being said though, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was absolutely hectic those first few laps. I thought Jacob and I were going to come together a couple of times, but we just about gave each other enough space. But yeah, it was a super fun race. That really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed yourself out there, mate. It's been good to watch you, to be fair, picking your way through the field. It's Donington Park next time out, which has always been an entertaining staple on the calendar of the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Is it a track you enjoy, or is it one you're not really looking forward to?
No, Donington's great, and it's, you know, as it's in the UK, it's one I've actually gone and raced that in the catering, so I know it fairly well. I think we're doing the international circuit, so I'm sure there'll be a bit of carnage at the is it the Montreal hairpin? I think it is. No, the Melbourne hairpin.
Melbourne.
Montreal's Celestin.
I've got it down here as national.
Oh, is it national?
So you're gonna have to get your curb hopping boots out.
Yeah, no, it's hard to overtake it, Donington.
Yeah.
I remember last season it was pretty hard to overtake. So it's just because it's such a quick flowing circuit. There's no real big braking zones where you can just send one up the inside. So again, you got to play a bit of a game of chess around Donington to make moves. So it'll be a bit of a challenge, I'm sure.
Well, to be fair, I'd struck it from my memory, really, because I think I had so much of a headache from how hard Peter and I were laughing at each other's puns last time we were at Donington. I think we fell apart on broadcast. But either way, Christian, fantastic to watch you making it through the field tonight again, mate. Really, really good stuff. We love the fact that the car stands out so much and the name is given to it with love. Is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to while you're here?
As always, hello mum and hello sister, who are always laughing out loud when watching the broadcast.
and the GT3 RS.
Yeah, and the GT3 RS. Although, you know, all your comments, guys, are making me think I should do the car on iRacing in purple now. So,
what's the car called, Christian?
I've not come up with a name yet. Maybe you guys can think of something for.
Augustus Gloob. Because didn't he go purple? Didn't he go purple in?
No, he fell into a big chocolate waterfall. I think it was the girl, one of the girls.
That's right. Whatever her name is.
I can't remember her name. We'll have to do a bit of research for next time.
I love it. Love it. Great to speak to you as ever, though, Christian. Thank you very much, mate. We'll see you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic. I'm with you on that, though. That should definitely be the name. Whatever that girl's name is, I cannot remember either. But yeah, that is definitely the one. Speaking of one, P1 in the AM class tonight was a certain João Estevez. Led a lot of the race in the final feature race there. But João, first off, well done on the AM win. You must be absolutely loving it after that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Got you all loud and clear.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it was unbelievable because it was my birthday yesterday. And so I thought, no, I want to win a race tomorrow as a gift for myself. So it ended up working well.
Well, happy belated birthday, mate, and you certainly did get the gift for yourself. How was it at the Red Bull Ring? I know it's a tough circuit to get right lap after lap. There's a lot of high-speed corners, a bit of start-stop stuff where you really need to feed the power in. It's not easy, is it?
No, there's a couple corners that you can ruin everything. In fact, my Heat 1 race on the corner 3, I did spin out of the corner and I lost like 10 positions. So it's very easy. There is a very thin line between going fast or stay there. But yeah, it ended up working well. Even leading part of the race, I know that the pro guys behind me will just catching up. But hey, they are on another championship, so I was trying to manage my position. I'm trying to, manage the nervousness of being leading the race.
Well, that's it. I mean, to be honest with you, I've not really led many races on iRacing, but when you do get right at the front of the pack, there is just a different level of nerves that can build up and really eat away at you. But you really held it well there. And to be fair, there was a close challenge as well by Mark Johnson in the end. That almost didn't pay off though, did it? Because Carl Sharkey was a spoiler in the pack.
Yeah, so he was getting close. Then I think it was Matt, Dorrington, and Jacob got themselves in between us, and that gave me some space. So I did try to leverage that space, not because it's very easy to make a mistake. So I got a gap there. Then they passed me, and then Mark was joining again, and then Christian was behind me. And I think the pros passing by us did help me to manage the lead, which was interesting. And I think this will be a new dynamic as these races go forward.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly going to be interesting to see if that does shake up the championship at all. But either way, it was great to see you get that result tonight, Zhao. Thank you very much for joining us. And before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to while you're on air?
Yeah, absolutely. To my Portuguese mate Fausto Pinto. So he's doing this championship this year, and we have been practicing a lot together. And yeah, it's great to have a mate here and having the possibility to play around. And our story goes way behind many years in real racing. So yeah, it's great to have him back here.
Awesome stuff. Glad to hear it, mate. I'd love to hear some of those some stories from that sometime. But for now, thank you very much for joining us. Well done on your AM win, and we will see you next time round, mate.
Sure thing. Thank you for your guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Well, there we go, João Estevez. We saw him get a win near the start of the season in, I believe it was season 2, wasn't it, at Laguna Seca, taking the win in the AM race there. But great to see him on the top step of the AMs again here this time round, Peter.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And Zhao very clearly taking some, being very clever, isn't he? Because he's thinking, I don't need to worry about the drivers who aren't in my championship. They're in effect, they might as well be in a different car. And that's exactly the approach to take, is just using, when you're in the AM class, you can use the pro cars to your advantage, sit in behind them, learn from them, say where they're quick, where they're slow. And Zhao really deserved his win tonight, that's for sure.
He definitely did, and so too Jacob Toft. It was a shame about the way that the battle with himself and Matt Dorrington ended, but we both went to different lengths to explain why that happened, so we're not going to dip too much into that one again. But the championship is certainly going to be an interesting one as it develops. We go to Donington Park next time round. We'll be there on the 10th of November, and we really hope that you can join us for that one. But for now, thank you very much to my colleague Peter MacKay. It's an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you everybody for watching Simracersworld TV. I've been Chaz Draycott, and this has been the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series. We will see you again very, very soon. Have a good night.